These are the lesson 6.3 activities. Number 1, we have a vector y and then two vectors u1 and u2. Everything lives in R4. W is going to be the span of u1 and u2. So all the linear combinations of u1 and u2. We call that a plane in R4. Okay, so we have a plane in R4, and I want to find the orthogonal projection of y onto that plane. So that is, we want to write y as the sum of a vector in plane W and a vector in W perp. So orthogonal to it. That is, write y as y hat plus z. So we have a formula for y hat. It is y dotted with u1 over u1 dot u1 times u1 plus y dotted with u2 over u2 dot u2 times u2. And if there were a third vector, u3, forming the plane W, then I would have another term y dotted with u3 over u3 dot u3 times u3. But I don't, so this is all I've got. Okay, so y is 4, negative 2, 1, negative 1, dotted with u1 over u1 dot u1 times u1 plus y dotted with u2 over u2 dotted with u2 times u2. Okay, now I just have to do some arithmetic. Okay, so the first term, the numerator of the fraction, would be 4 plus negative 2 plus 0 plus 2. So that's 4. And then my denominator would be 1 plus 1 plus 4, which is 6. Times 1, 1, 0, negative 2. Plus, okay, so my second term, the numerator is going to be negative 8 plus 0 plus 4, so it's negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And then my denominator is going to be 4 plus 0 plus 16, so it's 20, plus 1 is 21. All right, so I think I'm just going to reduce these fractions before I multiply. So 4/6, that reduces to 2/3. And negative 3 over 21, that reduces to negative 1/7. Okay, so my vector y hat is going to be 2/3, 2/3, 0, negative 4/3, plus 2/7, 0, negative 4/7, 1/7. Okay, so now I have to add these. They have different denominators, so I'm going to have to do a little fraction work in my head or on my calculator. 2/3 plus 2/7, and I get 20 over 21. I just cheated and did that on my calculator. 2/3 plus 0 is 2/3. 0 plus negative 4/7 is negative 4/7. And then negative 4/3 plus 1/7 is negative 25 over 21. Okay, so that's my y hat. Now I have to be able to write y as y hat plus a z. So my original y was 4, negative 2, 1, negative 1. I've now calculated y hat to be this hideous vector with fractions in it. And then I have to figure out what do I add to that to make y. So 20 over 21, what do I add to that to make 4? So I'm going to do 4 minus 20 over 21 on my calculator and have that change it to a fraction for me. 64 over 21. And then what do I add to 2/3 to make -2? So I need to do -2 minus 2/3. And I get -8/3. And then what do I add to -4/7 to get 1? So I have to do 1 plus 4/7, 11/7. And then -1 plus 25 over 21, 4 over 21. There we go. There's my y hat plus z. Okay, part B, find the distance from y to the plane in R4 spanned by U1 and U2. So that is find the length of z. So the length of z is the square root of z dot z. Okay, so 64 over 21 squared is 4,096 over 441 plus 8/3 squared would be 64 over 9. Plus 11/7 squared would be 121 over 49. And 4 over 21 squared would be 16 over 441. All right, and I am going to cheat and use my calculator here. 4096 over 441 plus 64 over 9 plus 121 over 49 plus 16 over 441. It gives me like 18.9, and I'm going to have my calculator change it to a fraction. Okay, so I get the square root of 397 over 21, which is not a perfect square. But when I take the square root, I get approximately 4.35. So you can do either one of these. Okay, so part C says find the best approximation to y by a vector of the form c1u1 plus c2u2. Hint, no new calculations should be necessary. Okay, so we did this in part A. So I'm just going to scroll back up to show you what we did here. Okay, so this is a scalar c1, and this is a scalar c2. So we found a vector c1u1 plus c2u2. That's my y hat. That is what I'm looking for here. That is the best approximation to y by a vector of that form. So it's just my y hat, which is this. And then find the point closest to y that lies in W. Again, that is y hat. The point closest to y, that's another way of saying best approximation to y, closest to y, that lies in W, that's your y hat. So there's just some different ways that you can be asked the same question. Just wanted to prepare you for that language.